The leash snapped taut in my fist like a live wire, and Max lunged, teeth sinking into the jogger's calf before I could yank him back. Blood blooming dark on the guy's sweatpants like an accusation. "Jesus Christ, control your mutt," he snarled, shoving me hard enough to send me sprawling into the mud of Central Park, my coffee mug shattering against a lamppost. Then, from the shadows of the path, a voice cut through the chaos, steady as a heartbeat. "He's not attacking. He's protecting you." I scrambled up, heart hammering, wiping gravel from my palms as the jogger stormed off cursing. Max whimpered at my feet, ears flattened, his golden fur matted with early autumn leaves. And there he was, tall, broad-shouldered in a wool coat that smelled faintly of pine and chamomile. His dark hair tousled by the wind, green eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made the world tilt. "I'm Ethan," he said, crouching to offer Max a gentle hand. "No fear, just understanding. And your dog's telling me everything I need to know about why you're both out here at dawn, running from ghosts." That was the morning my life cracked open, though I didn't know it yet. I'm Daniel Hayes, 32, a graphic designer scraping by in a one-bedroom walk-up in Brooklyn. The kind of place where the radiator clanks like it's got opinions on your love life. Max, my golden retriever rescue, all sloppy jowls and soulful eyes, had been my anchor since the divorce 2 years back. Sarah and I? It was the American dream gone sour. College sweethearts, a starter apartment in Queens, then the slow bleed of her wanting kids I wasn't ready for. Me buried in freelance gigs while she climbed the corporate ladder. She left with the IKEA furniture and half my vinyl collection. I kept Max, who she'd always called that drooling liability. He started acting out after, chewing shoes, barking at shadows, lunging at strangers like they carried her ghost. Therapy for a dog? In New York, where shrinks cost more than rent, it sounded insane. But desperation has a way of rewriting your budget. Ethan's office was tucked into a brownstone on the Upper West Side, the kind of spot that whispered old money. Exposed brick walls lined with dog-eared psychology texts. A worn leather couch facing a window overlooking a dog run where pups chased frisbees like it was their last day on Earth. No white coats or clipboards. Just Ethan in flannel shirts rolled to the elbows, his forearms corded from what I guessed were weekend hikes upstate. Pet psychology isn't about fixing behaviors, he explained at our first session, kneeling on the rug with Max's paw in his hand, murmuring low like a secret. It's about listening. Dogs don't lie. They mirror us. What's Max showing you, Daniel? I shifted on the couch, staring at my sneakers, scuffed Nikes from a half marathon I'd bailed on. That I'm a mess? It came out sharper than I meant, laced with the sarcasm I'd honed in too many dive bar arguments with Sarah. Ethan didn't flinch. He just nodded, his gaze steady, like he'd seen 1,000 guys like me. Straight passing on the outside, but cracked wide open inside. I hadn't dated since the split, hadn't even glanced at the apps flickering with shirtless torsos and winking emojis. Gay in New York? It's everywhere and nowhere. Pride floats on Fifth Avenue 1 month, ghosting the next. But Ethan? He had this quiet gravity, like he carried the weight of unspoken stories in the lines around his eyes. Sessions blurred into weeks. Max transformed first. No more lunges, just eager tail wags when Ethan tossed a tennis ball across the room, his laugh booming like thunder over the Hudson. "See? He's forgiving himself," Ethan said one afternoon, sweat beading on his brow as we played fetch in the office yard. "You could try it." I froze mid-throw, the ball thwacking against the fence. "Forgiving?" Sarah's parting shot echoed. "You're too afraid to feel anything real, Dan." But with Ethan, words spilled easier. How Max was the only one who'd stuck around. How I'd grown up in a Philly suburb where being different meant whispers behind cul-de-sac fences. Dad's golf buddies slapping my back like it could straighten me out. One rainy Thursday, after Max nailed a trust exercise, whatever that meant for a dog, Ethan handed me a thermos of black coffee. "Walk with us? Central Park's better in the drizzle, no crowds." I hesitated, but his smile tugged like gravity, warm and unforced. We wandered the ramble, leaves slick underfoot, Max splashing puddles like a kid in candy store fountains. Ethan talked about his own scars. Foster kid from Detroit, bounced between homes until a high school counselor spotted his knack for translating animal silences. Vet school dropout, now this, helping New Yorkers heal through their pets. Dogs don't judge, he said, bumping my shoulder lightly. They just love harder when you let them. That bump lingered, electric as a live socket. I caught myself noticing things. The way his jeans hugged his thighs when he knelt for Max. The faint stubble shadowing his jaw by session's end. The low timbre of his voice wrapping around my name like a promise. Falling? It snuck up like fog off the East River. Slow, unexpected, turning the city sharp and golden. We'd linger after appointments, grabbing falafel from a truck on Amsterdam, debating Scorsese films over shawarma wraps. You see yourself in Travis Bickle? He'd tease, eyes crinkling. Nah, more like the cabbie. Driving in circles till someone flags you down. Me, flagging him? God, it terrified me. By November, the air crisp with pretzel vendors and taxi fumes. It crested. Max was golden. Sleeping through nights, greeting neighbors with wags instead of warnings. Our sessions stretched to weekend hikes in the Palisades. Just us three, the cliffs dropping to the Hudson like a dare. One dusk, atop a overlook with the skyline glittering like fool's gold. Ethan paused, Max dozing at our feet. Daniel, he said, voice rough. This isn't just about the dog anymore, is it? My pulse roared louder than the wind. I turned, his face close. Freckles faint across his nose, lips parted like an invitation. I kissed him, tentative as first snow, tasting salt and chamomile. He pulled me in, hands firm on my waist, the world narrowing to heartbeat and river roar. No, I whispered against his mouth. It's not. Bliss hit like a freight train. Lazy Sundays in my Brooklyn apartment, Max sprawled between us on the couch, binging old episodes of The West Wing, while Ethan sketched therapy charts on napkins. He fit, quoting Whitman over diner pancakes. I sing The Body Electric, challenging my cynicism with stories of clients who'd rebuilt lives through a single paw print. I opened up about the divorce's underbelly. The nights I'd lain awake wondering if Sarah sensed my truths. The relief when she walked out. The guilt that followed like exhaust. Ethan listened, tracing circles on my palm. You're not broken, Dan. You're just waiting for the right mirror. But mirrors crack. It shattered mid-December, 2 weeks before Christmas, in the fluorescent glare of a midtown Starbucks. I'd surprised him after a consult, 2 lattes in hand, dreaming of ice skating at Bryant Park. He was at a corner table, back to me, laughing with a woman, brunette, sharp suit, her hand on his knee. My stomach plummeted. Ethan? My voice cracked like thin ice. He turned, face draining of color. Dan, wait. She glanced between us, polite confusion sharpening to something colder. Babe, who's this? Babe. The word gutted me. I dropped the cups, coffee pooling like accusation. You're? I couldn't finish. Ethan stood, reaching, but I backed away, Max's phantom bark echoing in my skull. Outside, sleet stung my cheeks as I bolted for the subway. The city a blur of holiday lights mocking my unraveling. Betrayal? It wasn't just the lie. It was the erasure, the way he'd mapped my fears only to hide his own. Texts lit my phone. It's not what you think. Please. I silenced them, curling on my couch with Max, his head heavy on my lap, whining like he felt the fracture. The climax brewed like a nor'easter, hitting that New Year's Eve. Midnight minus an hour. Rain lashing my apartment windows like judgment from the gods. A knock rattled the door, thunderous. I yanked it open, soaked Ethan on the stoop, coat dripping, eyes wild. Let me in, Dan. Or throw me out. But hear me. Max bounded forward, tail thumping, the traitor. I stepped aside, arms crossed like armor. He paced the living room, words tumbling. The woman was Claire, his sister, visiting from Chicago, meddling as always. She's straight-edge corporate, thinks I'm wasting my life on dog whispering, pushed me to set a date with her friend last month, but I ghosted it. Because of you. His voice broke. Ipaniket, Dan. Grew up in a house where Dad called it the devil's curve. Foster system chewed me up for being soft, for loving boys in secret. I thought I was past it, but seeing you terrified me. What if I drag you down? I laughed, bitter as black coffee. Drag me? Ethan, you pulled me up. Max trusts you. Hell, I trust you. But lies? That's the real bite. Rain hammered harder, lightning fracturing the skyline. He dropped to his knees, not dramatic but raw, hands gripping my jeans. I should have said from the start, "I'm sorry for the silence, for making you doubt." Tears cut tracks through the wet on his face. Max nosed between us, a warm bridge. I sank down, forehead to his, the storm outside mirroring the one inside. "We both scare easy," I murmured. "But running? That's the real ghost." Dawn broke gray and forgiving. The three of us tangled on the floor. Max snoring, Ethan's breath steady against my neck. New York woke slow, horns blaring, vendors hawking bagels. The pulse of a city that devours dreams but spits out survivors. We didn't rush, therapy for us now, not just Max, unpacking closets both literal and locked. Ethan's sister called, grudging apology laced with questions. My folks in Philly sent a card, oblivious but kind. Love, it turned out, wasn't fireworks over the harbor but this. Quiet mornings brewing coffee, Ethan's hand in mine during dog walks, Max's wagging testament to mended fractures. By spring, the cherry blossoms dusted the park pink, and we stood where it started. That muddy path, leashes loose. "You saved us both," I said, kissing him soft under the sun. He grinned, that pine chamomile warmth. "Nah, we just listened." In America, the land of reinvention, where betrayals bloom like weeds but roots run deep, love isn't a fairy tale. It's the slow unfurling, humanistic as a dog's unwavering gaze. Flawed, fierce, and finally home.